เอาละครับมาถึงเซสชันถัดไปของเราดีกว่าเซสชันถัดไปของเราเนี่ยต้องแจ้งให้ทราบก่อนนะครับว่าจะเป็นการบรรยายในภาษาอังกฤษนะครับผมโดยหัวข้อคือ harnessing artificial intelligence for creative content นะครับผมโดยสปีกเกอร์ของเราเนี่ยเพิ่งบินมาจากสิงคโปร์เลยนะครับผมครับโดยที่เขาเนี่ยมีประสบการณ์ทำงานอยู่ใน Adobe กว่า14 ปีแล้วนะครับผมขอเรียนเชิญคุณราเจช พัทิลครับขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยนะครับ
Used to keep it cool, used to be a fool, all about the bouncing my step. Watch it on the news, what you gonna do? I could hit refresh and forget. Used to keep it cool.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Okay. That is me, just a few months ago. But that is definitely me. So we're going to take a look at harnessing AI for creative content. How many of you know Adobe? Anybody who knows Adobe, heard of Adobe before? Yeah? That Photoshop company? How many of you are users of Creative Cloud? Yeah. How many of you are just lazy to put your hand up? Okay. So this is something cool that whenever I speak to marketers, whenever I speak to creative people, the first thing that comes up is content. And Patagonia, a retailer's website 5 years ago, used to look like this. It was kind of a brochure which they had printed and then moved to something like this because they wanted to be on a website. But now, Patagonia's website looks something like this. It's a more engaging experience for the person who goes and visits this particular website. It is more content driven. It is more cleaner. People are spending more time on this website than the earlier one. Why? Because it is more content oriented. It is what people want to look at. So when you look at this particular website, wow, this is working, this is not. I was like, I can see it there, but not there. Okay, here. Something wrong? All right. So when people create something like this and create something like this, can you just imagine which one is the media website? Because generally, when I speak from an Adobe perspective and I say, hey, I'm from Adobe, people would generally look at only at their creative teams. People will look at, oh, you are a media and entertainment company, you're using Adobe. But let me give you an example that is a retailer's website which looks more like a media company's website, because every company, every organization, no matter where you're coming from, no matter what you do, you are trying to make sure that most of the people sitting in this room, the millennials, are visiting your website so that I can continue to make more business or I survive and thrive on the business that is available, right? So that is the difference that is coming, it is coming to. So when you're looking at good design, it makes things memorable. I can always remember good design, but great design actually not just makes it memorable, it makes it meaningful as well. And that is something what everybody strives for. That is something that is the kind of content we want to create. I don't want to create content that is just memorable, but I want to create content which is meaningful as well. Now, that is where design-led thinking comes in. Now, this is from a content perspective. It is not, as I said, it is not necessary that you have to be a media and entertainment company. You can be any company, but you're looking at design-led thinking, and that will help because when you're talking about design-led thinking, take a look at this. Any company who thinks from a design perspective is getting rewards much more or much better than any company who is not. It is not necessary that you have to be a media company, but you have to be a design-led company, and that is where people who have been in the S&P or companies that have been in the S&P for the last 40 years are actually thinking, will they be around in the next 10 years? I'm sure most of the Thais, the local people generally drive, but how many of you took Grab today? Anybody took Grab? Yeah. I took a Grab. Everybody takes a Grab. Everybody takes a Uber. How many of you, for the last holiday that you went, you did not stay in a hotel, you stayed in an Airbnb? I did. That is typically the reason where the experience is so beautiful, the experience is engaging, the experience is just plain simple digital, and that is the reason if these companies do not shape up, they have to ship out. That is where this thing is going. So the experience-driven business is not for just the media companies anymore. These are these brand new age companies which are coming up and disrupting the market. And it is about 40% that they will do. So when we're looking at design-led thinking, take a look at this, 3.1 billion people that are connected. 3.1. So when I'm talking about 3.1 billion people, and as a marketer or a designer, I am trying to communicate with you. I'm not communicating with 3.1 billion people with one design. I'm communicating with distinct personalities, because when I'm looking at these personalities, there might be somebody who's staying in Singapore, is using a different kind of phone and is a premium user for me, for my website, but somebody probably staying in Bangkok is a first-time visitor and I don't know much about that person. So today, rather than we talking to just taking one particular design and spreading it across, I am talking to distinct personalities of whom I know many things. Because they're coming from Facebook, they're coming from Google, they're coming from Play Store. We know more about them. And that is the reason earlier, 10 years ago, what was my content strategy? It was like what Patagonia did. I just take one design and send it to everybody. One design, that's it. Why? Because that's my brand. And I want you to look at my brand, that's it. 5 years ago, what happened? Facebook came in, mobile came in, so the screen sizes reduced, the screen sizes went smaller, bigger, smaller, whatever you want to call it, because they're going different ways now. But glass was introduced. So what did people do? People take all their big websites and started making them responsive. Because I want to reach out to the audience who's using a different kind of glass. That was the strategy 5 years ago. But if you take a look at today, there is a plus personalization. these are distinct people. That is what I was saying, right? 3.1 billion people there, but they are distinct people. So when I communicate with them, I need to communicate in a language that they know. When I communicate with them, I need to communicate on the platform that they know or they are using. So it is not the same communication going everywhere, but it is depending on who is using, and because I know who that person is, because I know what that person likes, I can attend to that particular customer in a much better way. Right? Make sense? So it is a personalization, and because of this, how many creatives in the room? Anybody creatives? Yeah? Oh, obviously, yeah. Creatives in the room? Oh, no, I'm not going to put my hand up. No coffee since morning. But that's what I would do as well. But, you know, that has created a lot of stress. Just imagine two situations. I am talking to the male audience and I'm talking to the female audience. Earlier, I used to take one graphic and put it for everybody. If I'm talking to the female audience and a male audience separately, I need to create twice the content. Today, with personalization, we are creating tons of campaigns. I'll give you an example from Adobe. When Adobe Acrobat Document Cloud was released a couple of years ago, it was the newest version that came on the cloud. So earlier versions, we have just done two communications. One, to our existing customers, and second, to our prospective customers, because that is what we knew. We knew these are existing customers. Hey, thank you for existing customer, but there's a new version. And this is the new version for the new customers. But last year or a couple of years ago when we announced Acrobat DC, imagine how many communications went out. We did 400 different types of communications because we knew better about our customers. We knew they came from the HR side. We knew they are a legal customer. We knew they are a finance customer. We knew more about a customer than we ever did in our lifetime. And that is the reason from two communications, it went up to 400 different types. That is, so why am I telling you all these things and why am I asking you, are you a creative or not? Because that increases stress. 85% people are under pressure to create more content. They are 71% are saying that they are creating 10 times the content that they used to create. How many creatives in the room again? Now, people who are creatives, they still have those 8 hours. Okay, not 8 hours, 10 hours probably, or probably 14 hours, right? That is what you put in. You know, this is a good thing. You should say yes here because there are many customers in the room as well. That's the amount of hard work that you're putting in to get details out, right? So 71% think that it is 10 times, and 76% of people think that personalization increases the need for more assets. No rocket science there. That is the reason we feel that everyone needs to have content velocity. What do we mean by content velocity? We mean that if somebody is creating content, they need to actually create content at a speed that content needs to reach the publishing areas or the publishing surfaces at a speed. And when we are talking about this, how do I do that? I do it with people, obviously. I do it with processes. And then last but not the least, I do it with a platform, right? Because I need people to be really up and ready. I need processes which will be connected. So it is not that we are sitting in one room and every creative is in one room today. Everybody is in separate countries. Everybody is in various places. So when I'm looking at that, I can see that these are the four things that I have to have in my agile process. Increase speed and efficiency, design anywhere. Today you're sitting here and you get inspired with something. When I'm talking to creatives, I generally don't say that you copy something from here. You say you get inspired. We all get inspired, yeah. But so you click a picture and you get inspired with something. You can actually begin working with an app on your phone right now. It is not necessary that I have to actually take it back, process it, and then put it in my computer and start working only in my office. That is really important. Then the third one, which is where we are going towards AI, is reducing tedious tasks, because there are so many repetitive tasks that we do day in, day out. I am talking from a creative perspective, but still there are repetitive tasks. And maybe somebody from the machine side or somebody who has more intelligence or artificial intelligence can help us. So let's take a look at this. Algorithms obviously will never replace human imagination, given, right? We always, there are many people in this room, not in this room, but there are many people in this world who always are paranoia that artificial intelligence will someday become the Terminator kind of thing that we have seen in movies and become more intelligent than we are. But algorithms can never replace, because they are coming from us. They are learning from what we have been thinking and taking it forward. So when I'm looking at artificial intelligence from an Adobe perspective, what are we doing? We have been understanding what experiences and expectations are. We have been seeing, we have been learning from our technologies where and how users are utilizing it. What are they doing with it? If you are a cutout artist and creating cutouts for jewelry or creating cutouts for hair, we have been learning what you have been doing with the lasso tool for so many years, so that we can take that data. So you marry the data that is available into the experiences that people are getting to make sure that artificial intelligence works. So what are the executives talking about? The executives are saying or believing that AI will allow their companies to have a competitive advantage, whereas 3 out of 4 executives are saying that they can actually move into new businesses. You remember the slide where I was talking about that 40% which may or may not survive? People are actually looking at branches to branch out their investments and make sure that they are moving into a different business because of AI. And AI will allow them to do that. So when we are talking about from an Adobe perspective, what is Adobe doing about it? Adobe has a platform or an artificial intelligence working in the background, which is called Adobe Sensei. Adobe Sensei is not a product. Please don't go and search for Adobe Sensei in your Creative Cloud. It is not there. But it is still there. It is in every product that you use from Adobe. Okay? And what does it do? It marries it, because Adobe is working with you, creating content for a long time now, and it has been for the last 8 years working towards everything that you heard in the earlier session, from marketing automation, analytics, content management systems, and stuff like that. That is the data part of it. So we are trying to marry both of these from our experience in the industry, and we are probably one of the only companies on the planet to do or have such a thing. So where does AI play an important role? From a creative intelligence perspective. Now again, I would reiterate, human imagination cannot be replaced with algorithms. But at the same time, because you perform steps over and over again and again, Adobe has learned what is happening with you, or how you use Photoshop, or how are images. When you look at an image, we know, oh, these are eyebrows here, these are eyes, this is the nose. So if you have seen the latest Photoshop, if you have gone and worked with Liquify filter in Photoshop, it actually understands a face as soon as you put it there. If you open an image of a face, I'm just giving you an example from a creative perspective, that it understands where the eyebrows are, where the eyes are. If you try to liquefy something to make somebody's nose bigger or smaller, or eyes go bigger or smaller, or turn it around, it will limitedly do it for you. And it will understand that this is what it can do, where the limits are. So that is creative intelligence. If I am, again, as I was giving an example about the cutout artist. So, you know, if I click a picture and my hair is in disarray, or you click a picture and you want to make a cutout, you know, there's this hair part which is very tedious. That is getting recognized by saying select subject now in Photoshop. And that is something which is because of AI. When you're looking at experience intelligence, what you heard in the previous presentation, there's suddenly a spike in the sales of a particular product on a particular day. And if it is an anomaly, Adobe understands that and tells the marketer, hey, there's an anomaly. People are buying this particular product today. I don't know why. Can you please check it? And that is artificial intelligence. If at all there are more people who are abandoning a cart than normal on a particular day, it will tell you that. So that is from an experience perspective, what your customers are going through as an experience when they go to your digital touch points. And last but not the least is content intelligence. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but if you have everybody has a smartphone, right? I'm sure nobody is here without a smartphone. Some people have two. But there are apps on the smartphone from Adobe, which are free apps. I don't know how many of you have used something called Capture. But if you use Capture, if you go to a particular font, and I'm sorry, it is not the Thai font as yet, but it is the English font. If you go to the English font and you click a picture, if you don't have that font or if you don't know which font it is, Adobe Capture actually says, hey, this can be the font that you can use. That is content from a content perspective. So if I take a picture and I say, oh, search for similar pictures in Adobe Stock, that is content intelligence. So from a creative perspective, from an experience perspective, and from a content intelligence perspective, that is where Adobe is working. So Adobe AI, the Adobe Sensei, is working on a project Cloak. If you see, this is on a video perspective. Take a look at this, that there is a boy and a girl walking on the right side screen. If I want to remove it, I don't know how many videographers or video editors in the room, but that is a very tedious job. If I wanted to remove them, even removing from a picture is a tedious job, come on. Right? Content-aware fill, I'm sure everybody has seen content-aware fill. It's a 5-year-old technology. But we are now putting it onto video because we want to make sure that the videographers don't need to worry if at all they need to remove content from a clip. Right? So that is something that is happening in the backdrop. This is what I was saying, select subject. Open a lion's picture on your computer today, go to Photoshop, and again, this is Photoshop CC. So if you are on Photoshop CC, all you have to do is just say select subject and the lion will get selected. That is AI. Right? That's in Photoshop today. If you've gone to Adobe Stock before, and this is again, as I said, it is not about the media and entertainment companies only, but every company utilizes or needs images. And when they need image, whenever they go to a particular website, they download the image. The first thing they do obviously is go to Photoshop and open that image. There's no other picture editing tool that they're using mostly. So if you are on Adobe Stock and you're searching for images, this is like you have Songkran in Thailand, we have Holi in India. And Holi is the festival of colors and water. People throw water on each other and apply color to each other's face. That is what Holi is. So this is Holi. But if I wanted to make a filter and make sure that I'm looking at depth of field, you see that? That's the depth of field filter. If I say put it more, it then starts showing me only images with depth of field. These are 100 million images at one go. So this is artificial intelligence playing its part. Then, if I'm looking at vivid colors, if I say that, oh, I want the vivid colors to be low, then it starts giving me lesser vivid colors. If I go ahead and say high, then it starts giving me higher vivid colors. That's Adobe Stock, and that is Adobe Sensei working on the background. So if I move ahead, again, smartphone users, download this app. It is called Adobe Scan. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but Adobe Scan actually understands the boundaries of a particular picture that you're creating. It will automatically make it into a PDF. If I give you a name card, my visiting card, if I give that to you and you take a picture with Adobe Scan, it actually converts that into a contact on your phone. It is available now, presently available, and it is free of cost. Yes, you heard me right, it is free. All right, so from a Creative Cloud perspective, so when we are looking at how to create content, when we're looking at there are too many separate various reasons or various campaigns that we need to do, and we have to create that much content, AI will help us to do the tedious tasks. AI actually helps us in the background. So if, as I said, if you want to read more about Adobe Sensei, go to Adobe's website and you'll learn it, but then that's in the background. So from a business advantage perspective, this is the creative workflows today. It's a very beautiful picture, you know that? We don't know where our pictures are. We don't know where our images are. We always say, hey, where are the fonts? I have the file, but I don't have the fonts. I have the picture, but it was on a different USB. Can you pass that USB to me? That's generally the case. I'm not saying you guys are working in such chaotic environments. No. You guys are working very simply, but this is also an example. So every designer in the world today actually knows a new PSD, then probably a new final PSD, right? Then probably a final one. I'm sure everybody who's laughing has always done this. Use this one. You know, there's one which I found at a creative director's place. They said, hopefully final. Hope that my customer approves of this, right? So this is what we go through, because of this, it becomes really challenging to actually move into an environment which is very seamless, into an environment which actually has no mistakes and which is really less complex. So the older way of working, we were stuck in one place. Creatives only created on their desktops, never got ideas when they were traveling in the bus, train, never got ideas, ever. Or if they got ideas, what they would do is take a pen and paper and draw it, or take a tissue paper and do the rough on that, a draft. But this is the modern way where we are talking about flexible creative sourcing. We are talking about agile and empowered publishing. But when we are looking at actually what we need for this is the key connected assets. So if I am working on my phone and it's a free app, how can I make sure that I can upload this to somebody? Because not everybody is in the conference. Obviously today is a Sunday, so everybody's here. But let's say it was a weekday and I got something, I can actually upload it to my cloud, and somebody sitting back in the office can actually start editing it. That is the power of working anywhere. So I have started something here, I upload it, and it is there in my office for people to work on. So the creative workflows, these complex creative workflows that we are talking about, actually can get simplified. It can be the creative ninja as well as the marketer coming together, so that there's creative and marketing talking straight to each other, but then you can actually have a system which can provide a closer, better way. And these dotted lines are actually talking about the security part, because I'm sure there are IT people sitting in this room thinking, oh, you are asking people to upload on their mobile phones. Yes, because you can still secure it. If you are an IT person and you're thinking, oh my God, where is this going with security? It is a secured layer. So you can have all these people working in tandem with the Creative Cloud and share to the external people whenever and whatever is needed. So from a perspective where it is a complex workflow, it is a workflow which has been building up as we work together. We were 2 people earlier, now we are 20 people in the team, and we are just saying, oh, the final one, or the final 2, or the final 25 is the final one. Something like that. Here you are on one page, on one single place, where you know what's going to happen. So that those locks there, they are denoting for the IT folks in the room that it is a secured place. We can make it secure. And then last but not the least, this is what the creative workflows would look like. But I want to leave you with this thought that, by 2020, any and every business who is utilizing AI, who is utilizing the modern platforms for creativity, and who's utilizing the best tools in the market will take about 1.2 trillion each year from their competitors who are not utilizing it or who are not onto it. So with that said, I would like to say thank you so much, Kap and Kap, and thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time.